Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another inspiring episode of Amazing You podcast and YouTube channel, a space where stories of resilience, transformation, and hope come alive. Here we share powerful journeys that remind us that even in challenging moments, there is always a path forward. And I would like to say a huge thank you to the audience for being so faithful the past 6 years. Thank you for watching, sharing, and subscribing. And if you are new today, very warm welcome to the channel. Please share and subscribe as well. And also a big thank you to my team who so diligently work behind the scenes every week to get the podcast ready for all of you. I am your host. My name is Dr. Rani Thanacoody. I am a clinical hypnotherapist using rapid transformational therapy method. I am a Mars Venus life and relationship coach and energy practitioner. And today I am delighted to welcome the wonderful Ramona Kossowan. She's a women's wellness and empowerment coach who helps women break free from exhaustion, chronic stress, and disconnection from their bodies through her work in gentle trauma release, nervous system healing, and mindful eating and strength training. Ramona supports women in moving beyond survival mode and building a healthier, more compassionate relationship with themselves. Her approach focuses on helping women feel safer, stronger, and more connected so that they can work with their bodies rather than against them. Very warm welcome, Ramona. It's so great to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to just leaning into these topics a little bit and see what comes up.
That's awesome. Fantastic. And I'm sure the audience will enjoy it too. So, Ramona, can you share with us briefly about your journey of how you started to do all these great things? I'm sure it didn't start from what you are doing. It has a root somewhere else. So if you can share that with us.
Yeah, I wasn't one of those girls who grew up knowing what she wanted to be. When she grew up, I did not know. So around age 45, I started to get an inkling of what I wanted to do. But I actually started as an entrepreneur, just following my mom's footsteps, because she had really broken a lot of odds building a business helping women with their health as a herbalist. And that was like my side gig while I was still working and my children were little. But it evolved as I started to kind of expand into wanting to go deeper, add more depth and richness to my work, that it just couldn't be supported with just the one thing. So fitness is part of it. And to me, it's just a pillar of empowerment. Like, women need to feel strong and empowered in their bodies. You don't have to look like an athlete or anything like that, but it's really important. But what I came across a lot was emotions, and the emotions and even how we see ourselves in the world, to be able to make ourselves a priority rather than just constantly sacrificing our own needs. So I wanted to go deeper, and then just the opportunities opened up. So as I connected with people, and I do believe in synchronicity, and the right opportunities come and place before you, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this feels like a yes, like I need to go through this path, right? So that's kind of what happened for me with empowerment coaching, and then subsequently the Gentle Trauma Release Institute, which those things have really revolutionized how I work with women now, and how I see a way to make wellness more holistic.
Wow, that's wonderful. And how do you combine your empowerment coaching with your gentle trauma release? Because understanding trauma is a very big part of it. Would you please expand that for us?
Yeah, so the women I'm usually helping, and sometimes men, it's never men. What happens is the things we bump up against in empowerment coaching and any kind of coaching, at some point there's a sticking point that you can either tiptoe around or you can address it. So the gentle trauma release method is a standalone method. I don't necessarily merge it with everything I do unless someone's on like a bigger transformational path. But the empowerment coaching just kind of holds hands and makes perfect sense, because initially part of my work is focusing on getting women relief. We need to drain the tub, so to speak, like get the nervous system back to a place where you can feel resilient and see things more clearly and not have your unconscious in survival mode constantly. And the empowerment coaching helps with addressing the residue of trauma. So who did you need to become to survive or belong? What habits formed? How do you see yourself? What boundaries are you likely lacking? So it just kind of holds hands. So it's not just about releasing traumatic events and emotions, which is usually at the onset, but it's about rebuilding this person that you are becoming, that's more authentic and real and connected to something that feels true.
And that makes sense, because I do similar things as well. I have combined my coaching with the hypnotherapy because it's important for the clients because like in every coaching, at some point they will hit a block, an emotional block, and you have to know how to go around that. And that's why I'm sure the work that you do, Gentle Trauma Release, will help you to help the clients to release anything that is stuck, any emotions, because we carry so much emotions from our life, from our childhood with us. And that was serving us when we were children, but it does not serve us as adults anymore. And many of us, we didn't have our needs met, so we suppressed so much in order to show up to the world, but these needs were never met. So, and I think that's very beautiful that you combine both together. And can you give the audience a bit more information of what is a gentle trauma release approach? How does it differ from traditional wellness approaches?
There's often things that overlap, but it's a method that was formed based on the research that already exists about trauma and how it's embodied. Like if you think about the body keeps the score and the polyvagal theory, that's the foundation of the well-established research. But what it's done is it's taking it down into a very accessible form for both the practitioner and the client, because when I'm working with clients in this way, they're also practicing the protocols and they're feeling empowered to help their nervous system feel more resilient and not stay, hypervigilant or numb. So it's a combination of nervous system work that's very, very strategic. So that's what often people tell me is different. It's like, I've been working on this thing for 10 years. And this now feels complete in 3 months. And it's just when it's strategic, gentle but strategic, and feels complete to the body, you can start moving forward without needing to grind through the hard stuff so much. The changes come so much more organically. And along the way, this method is also set to help, as I mentioned, address the residue of trauma. So the relationships, the beliefs, the behaviors, the patterns, the boundaries, right? Because there's a transition that's going to come and you're like, I don't know who I am anymore because I'm not that. And this isn't serving me anymore. And I don't feel like this is me either. It's like helping them through the transitions, but also building that new empowered identity. We call that the woman energy, if it's a woman, right? It's your true self with all the parts, good, bad, ugly, not just the perfect ones. And being able to maintain your well-being. So that's a part of the process. You emerged feeling equipped to trust yourself and be present in your life and take what comes.
Absolutely, that makes complete sense. And you were talking about nervous system, calming the nervous system, and how does somebody who is listening and watching, who is not familiar with the term, how would they understand, how would they know when their nervous system is out of balance?
Well, our nervous system is meant to feel all the things, right? And sometimes people might think that they might have heard the term, I need to regulate my nervous system. That word's all over the place. If you'd
Yes.
asked me 10 years ago, I wouldn't have known what that meant.
No.
Maybe I need to be calm, but you know what? We're not meant to be calm all the time, especially women. Sometimes we're pushed to suppress and swallow our emotions, which makes us sick, right? So with nervous system, it's can you come back to center? So there might be where you get aroused, stimulated, even fight or flight. That's normal to experience those feelings. And you might also feel, really sleepy, downtime, or numb and detached sometimes, because sometimes we don't need to be fully emotionally present for every single thing in our life. Sometimes it's not that fun.
Yeah.
So it's okay to dissociate now and then, but can we come back to center? Can we feel at peace with being with ourselves without being super busy, numbing with alcohol or food or busyness or shopping or other people taking all your energy all the time and like pouring yourself into everything else? Can you come back to present, connect with yourself and connect with others in a reciprocal way? So if you can swing back from whatever it is and come back to center, that's a good indication that you're doing okay. If you're stuck in other modes, so hypervigilant might be one, or maybe depressed. So I'm not talking about clinical depression, but just apathy, numb. If you're stuck in one of those, it's a very good sign that your nervous system is carrying some burdens there and it's kind of staying there.
Yes, I love that you said that, because my nervous system was completely out of balance. I numbed myself as a child. So as the nervous system starts slowly to come back to its normal state, I started to feel more emotions. So that was beautiful to be able to feel, because I suppress everything. I numb myself.
Yeah.
Yes. And you talk about coming back to the self. And what do you think, if you can share with us a simple practice or practices that the viewers or the listeners can start using today to feel more connected to their bodies?
Yeah, so depending on the season of life you're in, what that will look like will change. Like if you're in the middle of something intense, like you're in the eye of the hurricane, versus things are kind of okay. I am a believer in having routines and rituals that tell your nervous system I'm safe. Does this mean you need a 12-step morning routine? No. But if we jump out of bed and after hitting snooze 12 times, hit the coffee and hit the traffic and don't eat breakfast until 11:30, our nervous system is jacked for the day, right? So let's go the other way. So what nourishes you physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, right? So you can't always do everything in all days, but what rituals help you? So I always think about when you change your state, the thinking and the mindset will quite often go with it. If I'm down in the dumps, if I'm feeling negative, happens to me, happens to the best of us, I look first to what do I need to do to change my state? Not forcing, but am I up for a workout today? Do I need a walk? Have I eaten a good meal? Have I played some music? Have I done something that refreshes me in some way? So simple routines and rituals that make sense for your life. Of course, we want to think about movement, sleep, hydration, nutrition. It doesn't need to be fancy, but am I eating a breakfast and sitting down to eat it without looking at my phone or a screen? Right? So those little rituals anchor your body in safety, and they're really valuable, whether it's hectic or not hectic in your life.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's very, very helpful. And, many people are familiar with diet and exercise advice. But what is, according for you, the missing piece that you often find that women need?
Couple things, especially with women. I'm midlife myself, so I connect with a lot of women over 40, 50, and 60.
Yes.
I'm working actively to undo the damage of diet culture.
That's true.
In women. So sometimes women think, because, growing up in the 80s and 90s and even now, that nutrition means dieting or being good or following rules. No, right? So I find that diets in general contribute to exacerbating trauma symptoms in a lot of women. So I like to lean more into mindful, satisfied, enjoyable eating. And I find sometimes working with trauma first can help to facilitate that if it's been a problem long term. So having that loving, satisfied, self-respecting, more relaxed relationship with food. The other thing is I like to help women heal the reason they're exercising, because we think of, I gotta look a certain way, I gotta feel a certain way, and especially if they're weighing themselves all the time, like, please don't do that. But especially again, midlife. What I find is when women focus on strength in their physical care, you don't need to be a gym rat. If you are, cool. But when women focus on strength and mobility along with it, they hold hands. It's like flipping a switch. They see themselves differently, because you don't have to wait until you hit X weight or hit X size or have some outward transformation. You're actually proving to yourself just how gritty and tenacious you are. And you can do this even when you're in a harder season or you're kind of burnt out, just adjusting to your capacity. So that I love. That's, to me, another tool for feeling powerful in your life. It's feeling powerful in your body.
Yes, and that is so true, because so many diets have failed. People have been on diet and it never worked, and then they get back to they become even more overweight after the diet. And the diet industry is very interesting. It keeps coming with all sorts of diets to get people to invest money, but at the end of the day, it's about, like you said, it's about mindful eating, and also being mobile and looking after the body. It doesn't need to be, and strength as well. Strength, a lot of strength exercise is very, very helpful. And what do you mean by mindful eating for somebody who doesn't know what mindful eating is? Ramona, can you give us some examples of what it looks like?
Yeah, this is something I coach in one of my programs, but it's about removing the anxiety, judgment, rules, and feelings of scarcity. Does this mean anything goes? No, we don't want that either.
Okay.
But walking that middle ground is where you feel like, I'm good. So what I like to incorporate is we have daily nutritional commitments that we focus our energy on that are helpful, important, and move the needle towards the body we want to live in, that are easy for us to do. Okay. So if you hate eggs, I'm not going to tell you to eat 3 eggs for breakfast, right? It needs to be something you enjoy. And the other thing that I like to think about is building satisfaction into your routine. So for example, if you enjoy coffee and you like having some cream in your coffee, but you're like, well, I better cut back, I shouldn't have the cream. All you can think about is what else you're going to have because you didn't have your cream in your coffee. Whereas if you just had the cream, you'd be like, I'm good. So it's about removing that emotional charge and the forbiddenness of certain foods. Because once something no longer feels forbidden to you and you could take it or leave it, it loses its power over you. And you don't feel like you need to purge the pantry or avoid social situations. You can eat what you enjoy to a point of comfort versus overeating and not feel stressful. And then getting enough enjoyment out of your food that you're not desperately craving a whole pan of brownies.
Yes. I can very much relate to that. I have been myself going on a kind of journey with understanding about how to eat more mindfully, and this has completely changed my outlook on how I eat, what I eat, and has even allowed me to have more variety in my diet on a day-to-day basis. And I am so grateful, because my whole life I have been dieting, and I have been having health issues that I couldn't eat, that prevented me from eating so many food. But now that I am working in healing those inner issues, the gut, so it's helping me to eat more mindfully, and also not to deprive myself, but to, like you said, to enjoy what I like once or twice a week, but to eat everything in moderation. And this has made me have a much deeper appreciation for myself and my body. and for food as well, how we have to eating the right food, and also balancing that nervous system is very, very important. While doing the while doing the for me doing I do yoga as well, so it's a complete plan. And you talk about that as well. You do that as well, because we can see the equipment you've got at the back. So can you tell us, why is strength training an important part of your approach to women's wellness, Ramona?
Well, for me, what's really important is I don't want to see what I've witnessed in women in previous generations where strength training wasn't really a thing. It's not on their mind at all. And I do not want to be decrepit. Like, that's number one, right? I want to be able to travel, do stuff, whatever I want, and enjoy it within reason, right? I won't be signing up for any extreme challenges, but I want to do what I want. I want to feel good about how I'm showing up, like youthful. Obviously, I want to look healthy. I don't need to look my thinnest.
Yeah.
I don't think that's even healthy to want that at this stage. So like what you'll see here, this is my gym where I work with clients in person, but I do a lot of training online virtually with women with an app. But it's a foundational piece, and it takes, it's a skill. But once you've adopted and understanding how the basic movements, because all it is basic movements, how it should feel in your body, it's very empowering. And then it's easier to adopt it into, this is how I live now. This is who I am and this is who I live. Because we don't want to do resistance training for just some short-term goal.
That's true.
It's the body you're going to live in. You're actively investing in that future in your body, even if it's just to get up the stairs or get off the toilet without help. It's seriously that basic.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And can you share with us, what do you think are some of the misconceptions that people commonly have about healing and wellness?
Well, I think sometimes people can get caught up in the loop of always working on themselves. Like, you've always got to be working and working and working, like you're a project, right? Like a dilapidated project at that, not a passion project, fix it, right? Yes, there's times we need to give our attention to certain things, emotionally, mentally, physically, absolutely. But I think there's that breathing space in between where simply living and existing is healing, right? It's not always an active, forced fixing situation. And that just living and pouring into what gives us joy, sometimes that addresses a lot of the problems we're having in the first place. Just like, take a breath. Right? Just take a breath.
Yes.
Enjoy, where you're at, and take a breath. And then the other things are the more extremes and the black and whites. I typically don't have black and white thinking. There's nuances. And I think it's also, just because something is right for one person or group or one approach does not mean it's right for you. So I think there's the element of the intuition, and you are still the wisest one about your own body. So you can take in the information, but it's not all for you.
Yes, Ramona, that is so true. Everyone's body is very different in how the body accepts certain food, certain drinks. It's very interesting. It's like each one, in that process that I've been through with food and the exercise, it's like I really got to pay even more attention of what my body does not like, without forcing things, It's really getting to know ourselves, know our body, our beautiful body. Yes, and that's so true. Yeah. And can you share with us, Ramona, a client success story that illustrates the transformation that is possible through your work?
Yeah, so there's one dear client that she's even agreed to talk to other people that are considering working with me, but she connected with me initially because she knew she had had some difficult stuff in her past, and she had worked on it. And she was actually in a good place right now, married to a good man in a happy, healthy relationship. She's like, why am I having all these problems? I'll be watching TV and I'm clenching my fists. I sleep clenching my fists.
Right.
My weight's a problem. I can't have a conversation with my husband where there's any kind of disagreement or my throat closes up. So when we first talked, it's like, well, your body feels safe now, finally. And now it's starting to process what it's been bracing for since your very young childhood. And even though you've worked on it, and I'm glad you did at that time, it got you through that phase, your body doesn't feel complete. So we worked together for a number of months with the Gentle Trauma Release method, which started initially with releasing traumatic events and memories and emotions, that working with the nervous system strategically so that the intensity was gone. So what unfolded was just her seeing herself with such love. And she just woke up one night just brimmed with love for her body, like tingling with energy, because she finally understood that all these symptoms that she called a problem were simply the trauma symptoms and her body protecting her through very hard times. And what happened is a lot of these symptoms just went away, like the clenching, the throat closing. And so she was able to have difficult conversations with people. And I find when people heal trauma, they tend to recognize relationships and see them through fresh eyes and go, oh, this is really dysfunctional here, or this doesn't feel good to me, right? So she started developing boundaries, the ability to communicate. She felt more comfortable with her husband without getting triggered when he so much as looked at her the wrong way. And then her body. So she had done a popular weight loss diet many, many, many times in her adult life. And what happened when we started working together is she stopped needing to do that diet because she could listen to her body and lovingly respond. She could have a treat without binging. And she actually reached a size, a weight, a comfort, an energy, a fitness level that she had not ever achieved in her adult life because she became a new version of herself. So it was quite, over time, quite an amazing transformation for her.
Wow. Thank you. That's really beautiful to see, And it's so nice when we see our clients experiencing this breakthrough in their own lives. And it gives us so much more happiness to see that. And I'm sure you did experience that. Yeah. And for somebody today, Ramona, who is listening and watching, who feels overwhelmed and disconnected, what suggestion would you give them today?
The first thing is self-care. So how are you? Sometimes the basics go out the window because we forget. Like we literally detach from our body with trauma, and trauma isn't always the past. It's whatever's going on right now is overwhelming. Self-care. So are you setting limits with your time and energy? Are you nourishing yourself well without going on a diet? Do you have some safe people in your life who can witness you as you are now and not try to talk you out of it or dismiss or invalidate or fix it? Like for example, if your child is going through a very, very difficult time, mental illness, abusing substances, you don't need to spend time with all the soccer moms with their perfect kids and try to pretend everything's okay. So try to spend some time with someone who could witness you as you are. And you can just be safe to be as you are and not put on a big mask. Simple things make us feel safe. So whether it's a welcoming face, gentle touch, and sometimes that's your pets. That's the safest thing, is time with your pets and animals, and they co-regulate you. But also thinking about, again, coming back to your body, what gives you enjoyment with your senses, right? Whether it's getting your hands in something, singing obnoxiously in your shower, right? So what connects you back to your body? You're allowed to actually feel good, even when you're going through something hard. And then if trauma is a part of that, which often it is because it'll resurface, then we'll have some resources we can talk about that people can take advantage of to explore whether that's really exacerbating things. Does that help to paint a picture a little bit? what they
Yes.
can do? Okay.
Yes, I think that's very helpful because so many people, when we talk about self-care, they think it's about just having a haircut, having their nails done, but it's more than that. It's just everything that you've explained. It's just a kind touch, just connecting with the body. These are important things that we forget, but we tend to put more attention in the physical aspect of ourselves. So I think thank you for sharing that. And that's very helpful. And I'm sure it will help the audience, Ramona.
Good.
And where can the viewers and listeners learn about your work and connect with you, Ramona?
So I have two websites. One is Ramona K Coaching, which kind of encompasses all the different aspects of my work. And then I have one specific to the Gentle Trauma Release Method. So there's RamonaKCoaching.com and GentleTraumaCoach.com. And then I'm on my socials as Ramona K Coaching. And then I have a free item where you can connect with me there about when grief feels stuck, that listeners can explore. So grief may or may not be the loss of a loved one. It can be other types of endings as well.
Thank you so much for sharing your links. Your links will appear below in the video and in the description of the YouTube and the podcast. And thank you for the freebie. I've got the link and I will post it as well in the description of both the podcast and the YouTube when it's going to be aired. And my last question to you, Ramona, any final thoughts or message that you would like to share with the audience?
Well, what I like to think about is you were intended to experience joy. Because I was brought up with more of the mindset of hardship and enduring to the end, and I reject that. So you were allowed to feel joy even when you're not perfect. Your life is not perfect. It might be small pieces of joy. It's not always the big Mount Everest. That's cool if you have things you're working, but you're allowed to experience joy regularly, daily, weekly, monthly. It might be smaller bits or bigger bits, but it's not even just about getting over hard things, but it's about feeling safe to receive joy as a regular experience and not holding your breath and waiting for something.
Thank you. Thank you so much, because joy is such an important thing. And it's something that we need to talk more about. Yes, thank you. And remind ourselves, because we can easily think of the worry, of the anxiety. But I think thinking about how we can create joy in our life is very, very important. Yeah, we are the one that creates our own life. So we can create bad or we can create good. Yes. Why not create good in our life? Because we've got only one life that we are aware of on this time on earth. So Ramona, huge thank you for sharing your wisdom today, sharing your passion, sharing what you do. It's been really wonderful listening and talking to you, having this conversation. I would like to wish you a lot of success with your coaching and with your Gentle Trauma Release program. And also, I would like to say huge thank you to the audience for watching, sharing, and subscribing. And remember that you are amazing. You have always been amazing, and you always will be amazing. So take care, everybody, and bye-bye.
Thank you.